One of the most unique and defining features of Canadian labor law is the automatic dues checkoff system, commonly known as the RAND formula. This system, in place for over half a century, requires employers to deduct union dues from every employee's paycheck and remit them directly to the union. It was a groundbreaking achievement and a major victory for the Canadian labor movement in its early struggle for recognition. The RAND formula didn't come out of nowhere. It was born out of direct action by workers, fighting for better wages, safer working conditions, and job security. Unions had gained strength during the Second World War, especially in manufacturing. With military demand high and the labor supply stretched thin, unions had a unique opportunity. Employers, now desperate to meet production quotas, were finally forced to negotiate. But when the war ended, everything changed. Military production stopped. Soldiers returned home. The labor market swelled. Employers tried to roll back the gains workers had made during the war, hoping for a return to the pre-war status quo. But unions weren't ready to give up their hard-won rights. In one of the most iconic labor battles in Canadian history, the United Automobile Workers, the UAW, stood up to the Ford Motor Company at its Windsor, Ontario plant. In September 1945, the UAW began a massive strike. It lasted 3 months. Tensions were high and both sides were dug in. The UAW demanded a closed shop, where every worker would be required to join the union. Ford pushed back, wanting an open shop, where union membership would be voluntary. The dispute dragged on with no end in sight. Eventually, both sides agreed to bring in a third party to settle the matter, Supreme Court Justice Ivan Rand. Justice Rand, one of Canada's most respected legal minds, came up with a creative compromise: the RAND formula. Instead of forcing either a closed or open shop, Rand ruled that while the plant would not be a closed shop, every employee in the bargaining unit would still have to pay union dues, even if they chose not to join the union. And here's the key part: the employer would be responsible for deducting those dues from paychecks, ensuring consistency and fairness. Justice Rand's logic was simple but powerful. If all employees benefit from the union's efforts, from safer working conditions to higher wages to better job security, then all employees should contribute to the organization that makes those gains possible. Before the RAND formula, union officers had to chase down dues at work. Some employees just avoided paying altogether. Rand's decision stopped that. The result? A huge win for the UAW, and for organized labor across the country. The RAND formula quickly became the foundation for collective agreements nationwide. Eventually, provinces like Ontario and Quebec wrote it directly into their labor codes in the 1970s. But not everyone celebrated Rand's decision. Critics argued that as unions grew more powerful, they began spending dues on political activities, far beyond bargaining and workplace concerns. This led to a landmark legal challenge: Levine versus Ontario Public Service Employees Union in 1991. Levine claimed the RAND formula violated freedom of association, guaranteed under Section 2D of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But the Supreme Court disagreed. Even if the formula infringed on his rights, they said, the infringement was justified under Section 1 because of its broader social benefits. The RAND formula's opponents didn't stop there. In 2014, Ontario Progressive Conservative leader Tim Hudak proposed scrapping it altogether, but voters rejected the idea, and him at the polls. Hudak stepped down shortly after. So, what does all this mean for you? It means that the RAND formula is more than just a rule. It's a symbol of solidarity. It reinforces the idea that every worker is part of a larger team, and that team only survives when everyone contributes. Without that collective support, the union and the protections it provides would be at risk. If you want to know more about your rights as a unionized employee, we're here to help. Visit our website or contact Watson Palmer Labor Lawyers to book a consultation. With over 50 years of experience fighting for workers' rights, we are proud to stand with you. Thank you for listening, and remember, solidarity is strength.